With this video, I'll be going through and showing you how to set up a 2-column proof. Now you'll notice that I've already put marks on this particular shape. The markings that are put on this shape won't be given to you. I'm just using them to help you along to identify some of the things you have to use to finish off your proof. Now, the first thing you will notice that is next to the word given and a semicolon, there will be 2 statements. And in this case, those statements are AB is parallel to CD and BC is parallel to AD. Those are your given statements, and your given statements are always the first 2 lines of your proof, each and every time. You should not get the givens wrong. They're like answers that I already give you. If you do not put the givens in the first 2 lines of the proof, they will automatically be wrong, and it will be points that you've just given away. And as you see with the proof that I have right over here to the right, my first 2 lines were the givens. AB is parallel to CD, and BC is parallel to AD. And the reason for that is given, because they were given to you. So do not get the given statements wrong. Do not get the given reasons wrong. So on each and every proof, you should at least get the very first 2 lines right. If you are not getting the first 2 lines right, that is a choice that you've made. Now, not only do you automatically know the first 2 lines of every proof, you also know the last line of every proof. And the last line of every proof is going to be what you were trying to prove. And in this case, it's angle A is congruent to angle C. This particular proof has 14 answers, 7 reasons, 7 statements. Out of the 14 reasons, statements and reasons, before we even start the proof, you automatically know 5. You know your first 2 rows, or your first 2 statements, your first 2 reasons, and you automatically know your very last statement. Now, looking at our shape, you will also notice something that has to be automatically identified, and that is the reflexive side. In this particular case, it is BD. You will not be told that the side is reflexive. It is something that you must automatically know. And being that our side is reflexive, we can put that as our 3rd line. And as you will see, I have already written it as my 3rd line. BD is congruent to BD, and the reason is reflexive. Again, reflexive sides, reflexive angles are things that you have to automatically see. They won't be given to you in the information, and the teacher will not tell you. You have to automatically know it. Now, being that you have parallel lines, or as I've said in class, if you have a given statement without a congruency sign, that's leading to a congruency sign. There's some information in that statement that leads to 2 things being the same. And with parallel lines, those 2 things being the same either have to be alternate interior angles or corresponding angles. Being that our shape was a parallel, being that our shape looked as it did, the congruent angles will be alternate interiors. And I've already marked them with corresponding marks. The 2 angles with 1 mark are congruent because of the parallel lines. The 2 angles with 2 marks are congruent because of the parallel lines. And I've also subsequently in the proof put 1 mark next to the angle names in the proof and 2 marks next to the angle names for those particular pairs of congruent angles. Now, because line segment CB is congruent to line segment AD, that means the angle CBD and angle ADB are going to be congruent by alternate interior angles. And because line segment BC is parallel to AD, that means that angle CDB is congruent to angle ABD, again by alternate interior angles. So now looking at our information, we now have 3 congruency marks. And since we have 3 congruency signs, that means we can now name our 2 congruent triangles. Our 2 congruent triangles are going to be triangle CBD is congruent to triangle ADB. But the issue is, why? We have 4 different congruency theorems: side, 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 angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. Now, looking at our 3 congruency signs, you can see that we have 2 pairs of angles and 1 pair of sides. So that means that it can't be side, 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 and it can't be side, angle, side. So that means it has to be either angle, side, angle, or angle, angle, side. One way to make this a whole lot easier to identify is by looking at the vertices of your 2 angles. The vertices of your angles have to be the middle letter, always. So looking at the 2 angles to the left, you see that your 2 vertices, or the middle letters, are B and D. Looking at the 2 angles to the right, you see that your middle letters are again B and D. Looking at the line segments that are congruent, you see that the line segment is BD. Since the side, or since the points that create the side are also the points that create your 2 angles, or my bad, let me say it this way. Since the points that create the reflexive side are also the vertices of your angles, that means that your 2 triangles are going to be congruent by angle, side, angle. If the side was not used, or if the points that create the side weren't created by the vertices of the angle, you would have used angle, angle, side. But I'll probably do a proof showing that on another video. So now we've proven that triangle CBD is congruent to triangle ADB by angle, side, angle. And the last line of our proof, as stated before, is going to be angle A is congruent to angle C. The reason for this is going to be CP, CTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are always congruent. So now, not only do you automatically know that the first 2 statements are given to you, your first 2 reasons are automatically given, your last reason is automatically what you were supposed to prove, and your last statement was automatically what you're supposed to prove, and your last reason is automatically CPCTC. So in each one of these proofs, you automatically know 6 lines before you even start. It's your job to become proficient enough to fill in the rest.